The Government of Canada's retaliatory tariffs against the United States mark a major setback in the NAFTA negotiations in particular, and our bilateral relationship more generally. A full-blown trade war now seems increasingly possible. Tariffs will beget more tariffs. The costs will be disproportionately borne by Canadian businesses and Canadian workers. Was this outcome inevitable when the NAFTA negotiations began? Maybe. President Trump's mercurial leadership and erratic deal-making style was always going to be a complicating factor. Any Canadian government would have invariably encountered challenges negotiating with this administration. The truth, though, is that Ottawa has made a series of miscalculations and errors that have provoked the Trump administration and exacerbated bilateral tensions while doing nothing to advance Canada's interests. These actions and choices have only served to make a difficult situation worse. The NAFTA negotiations and Canada's economy have been put increasingly at risk in the process. Take the NAFTA renegotiations themselves. We didn't want these negotiations since we were content with the status quo. Nevertheless, our negotiating position led with calls to make the deal more progressive and to insert a raft of ideological causes unrelated to trade and completely at odds with Trump's priorities. This was both a distraction and needlessly provocative. Same with the Prime Minister's agenda for the G7 summit in Charlevoix, which focused on issues like gender and the environment, knowing that this would annoy and isolate the President while leaving off the table other issues of interest to Washington. Then there's China. Much of Trump's international trade agenda is driven by anger about Chinese misbehavior on trade and national security issues. Yet not only has Ottawa energetically pursued free trade with China, it has also been reluctant to take seriously the national security threats that country increasingly represents to the West. Canada continues to be very optimistic about Chinese telecoms company Huawei's deep involvement in the development of our wireless infrastructure at a time when virtually every U.S. intelligence agency has warned about the grave risks the company poses to national security. On national defense, inextricably linked in President Trump's mind with trade issues, we've also misplayed our hand instead of searching for ways to partner with the Americans. Even with the Prime Minister's extension of Canada's military mission in Latvia, the fact is that our reluctant leadership came only after strong American pressure, and our military contingent remains quite small compared to other countries with similar responsibilities in the Baltic. Washington couldn't care less about peacekeeping missions to Africa, but it would welcome Canada undertaking real freedom of navigation missions to push back against Chinese efforts to claim and militarize the South China Sea. This spring, the Americans disinvited the Chinese from the RIMPAC naval exercises in the Pacific Ocean, and that makes it a particularly ill-advised moment for a Canadian warship to be engaging in military exercises alongside the Chinese Navy. The Prime Minister has also set his face against participation in the American-led ballistic missile defense system, even though such participation would allow us to offer a concrete gesture in favor of improving U.S. national and continental defense at a relatively modest cost. No, Trudeau wouldn't have voted for Donald Trump, but he's President of the United States all the same. The onus is squarely on Ottawa to rethink its priorities originally conceived for continuity between the Obama administration and an anticipated Clinton administration. Indeed, in a 2015 speech, Mr. Trudeau criticized his predecessor for failing, as he put it, to focus relentlessly for the long term on making progress in those areas where Canada-US interests align. Yet Ottawa has consistently failed to understand the extent to which Trump is charting a different course on climate change, a different course on energy development, a different course on foreign policy and trade. This failure to recognize fully Washington's evolving political landscape and to adjust accordingly is a costly and regrettable mistake. Canadians may not like Trump, but that's irrelevant. We have to work with him for the next 2 years, if not the next 6. Fortunately, we can fix it. One of Trudeau's key conclusions in his 2015 speech on improving the Canada-US relationship was a willingness to admit mistakes. It's good advice. He should take it. I'm Brian Lee Crowley.